Morning. As some of you may have noticed, I just finished my proposal presentation on Wednesday for my doctoral dissertation. I thought I would take a few minutes to kind of explain what I did, what the process is, and really what I'm studying. So this will be really two parts. The process that is a doctoral dissertation and what I'm actually studying, which probably is more relevant for most of you actually watching this. So to start, how did I get to my proposal presentation and what is it? Seton Hall, as any PhD program, has several milestones that you kind of have to get through to finish and graduate. I think the first major milestone at Seton Hall, and it varies from university to university, but they're somewhat close, is something we would call the qualifying exam. After you take your qualifying exam, usually approximately a year later, you take what's called the candidacy exam. And this usually coincides with the conclusion of all your coursework. So I finished all of my coursework last year, and I took my candidacy exam in January. And really, this just demonstrates proficiency for a few things. One, I can read and analyze research, critically evaluate research, but the candidacy exam is a little bit more about my research. So I am very well versed in my topic, is what it says. After you finish your candidacy exam, the next major milestone in most PhD programs is what we would call a proposal presentation. And the proposal presentation is where I present my topic, both my literature review, so everything I've researched for the past 3 years, and my methodologies, how I plan on doing my study, to all of my peers at Seton Hall and all of the faculty in the health science program at Seton Hall. So what am I studying? I'm looking at 3 different loading methodologies for powerlifters. So what does that mean? In simplest terms, how do we determine what is the optimal, what is the best way, what is the weight that we put on the barbell? How do we determine what weight to put on the barbell? It's the simplest way to say it. And I have to first say, there's absolutely a level of arbitrary / guessingness to it. And that's really the truth. There is no one perfect answer to determine what is the best weight to put on a barbell. And the truth is, if anyone here asks me, and you guys probably know this, you'll say, what should I bench today? What should I squat today? What should I deadlift today? And if you know me, you know I'm going to hit you with many more questions because it is very context dependent. I'll say, okay, well, what did you bench last week? Okay. How many sets and reps? Okay. What is your 1RM? What is your 3RM? Okay. What were the RPEs last week? How were we feeling? Did you do any extra work this week? So on and so forth. Because the answer for what we put on a barbell is incredibly nuanced the more you think about it. And in order to maximize our adaptations, like any strength coach really needs more and more information. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at 3 different ways to determine the best way to figure out the load on the barbell. So I'm looking at a percentage-based training model where we operate as a function or a product of what your 1RM is. So if your 1RM is 100 pounds, maybe we'll do 70% of 100 pounds. The other things I'm looking at are 2 auto-regulatory methods where what auto-regulation means is we change the weight on the barbell based on an athlete's current readiness. So instead of operating on more of a fixed path, which is mostly what percentage-based training is, we adjust the load just based on your current readiness. So oftentimes when working with a client or an athlete, I'll say, why don't you work up to what I would think your last warm-up set should be. Based on how your last warm-up set moves, we'll make a decision. And you could do this a few ways. You could do this by using a rating of perceived exertion scale, RPE, which we utilize all the time here. Or you could use barbell velocity, which is obviously something you guys have seen. I've been exploring for about the last year and a half, give or take. So at the conclusion of my study, what I'll have 3 separate groups that will have followed an 8-week training intervention using one of those loading methodologies. And at the conclusion, I don't know, maybe we could determine what methodology might be a little bit better than another. We'll see.